You are soaring flight of imagination, saturated in the movable. Removable, no excuses. You're breaking all the rules. You are brew, composed in shea butter, peppermint and honey black soap. Nas lifeline inscribed in palm, unconventional, standing 20 feet tall. You are 1969 in the syncopated. Improvisation to the metronome. You chasse too. You allow your voice to ripen before time signatures expire in measures. You origami chords. You are where 30 shakes hands with adolescence, realizing you just hit puberty. Watch as red clay seeps through pores, building pyramids past prime. You are prime at 44. All brass, double bass, 2 drummers, 3 electric pianos, and percussionists all saying forget it at once. Hey, hey, hey. We are back for another episode of All About Our Liberation. And I am super excited to be joining y'all here today because when I tell you this conversation aligns with so many things that are taking place just universally in my life, probably in your life. So make sure you are getting your people in the room today because you don't want to miss it. So go ahead and tag them. They got a little time to get here. So if they need to go grab a drink, grab a little snack, maybe put the kid down so they can watch a show real quick if the kid's not already in bed. Get him in the room, y'all. All right. For those of you all who do not know who I am, it is your girl, Heather Bird, visionary founder and CEO of Bird's World Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower individuals, especially women of color, to write and publish their brilliance so that they can turn their messages into movements. All right. So that's something that you're interested in doing, come holla at your girl, right? But today, I am excited to invite you to All About Our Liberation, the podcast, as we work collectively to reclaim and rebuild our way back home to ourselves. Inspired by the upcoming anthology, we are extending the conversation so we can transform on the page and in person. Together, we want to be able to create permission for us to be able to write, to rest, and to remember who we were before the world got its hands on us. So, like I said, get your people in the room. Make sure you're tagging, you're sharing, making sure that you're leaving comments because I can see y'all in the comment section. All right. I'm going to shout y'all out if I see you. So make sure y'all do that and let us know where you're coming from. All right. But before we get started, I want to send a huge shout out to the network that made this possible for us to have this conversation. The Female Network is a beautiful, beautiful place that allows for us to have conversations that extend beyond ourselves. And when I tell y'all they showed up this weekend for my girl Asada for the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, that is an understatement. The way that we support each other is absolutely amazing. We have shows every day of the week, either 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. So make sure y'all check this out. But let's just take a second to watch a quick commercial on the Female Solution, and we'll be right back.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
All right. Shout out to the Female Solution again for having me and all of our guests on this platform and for having All About Our Liberation be a part of this family. All right. But before we get started with this episode, like I start every single episode, I want to make sure that we are creating space for us to ground ourselves and honor the ancestors and the folks that came before us and their wisdom. So if you are in a good space, all right? If you're driving, this is not the assignment for you. However, if you are home and you feel safe and comfortable, or you're in a place where you feel comfortable, I would love to invite you to just kind of get yourself situated, right? Maybe wiggle out some of the nerves or some of the excitement, right, that lives in your body. And I would love for you to take a moment and just close your eyes if you feel comfortable. But if you don't feel comfortable, you can go ahead and just lower your gaze. And I want us to take a moment and ground ourselves, right? I get super excited when I do these episodes that I forget to breathe sometimes. I forget to just take a moment and heal myself as I'm moving into space. So this is for me just as much as it is for you all right? So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in together. And let's exhale out of our mouths. And for the next 3 breaths, we're going to inhale together, but collectively, we are going to hum outward. And I want your hum to be as big as you possibly can make it. Take up all the space, because this world doesn't allow us to take up the space that we deserve. So our hums are going to start that journey for us. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. And let's hum out. Deep breath in. And hum out. One more time. Let's take a nice deep breath in. And a deep hum out. And whenever you are ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And as you are beginning to reorient yourself, I want you to take a moment and think about a quote that I am going to put out there to you all, right? So every episode, there's a quote that I would love to be a part of our conversation, and for us to begin to think about a reflection question around this prompt, right? So today's quote is by James Baldwin, and it reads, "The place in which I'll fit will not exist until I make it." I'll say that again. The place in which I'll fit will not exist until I make it. I don't know about y'all, but that is a quote that definitely resonates with me as someone who continues to create spaces, right? So this quote was actually originally found in a 1957 letter that James Baldwin wrote to his friend, Sol Stein, but later on was published in Native Sons. So as we go to a quick commercial break, I would love for you all to reflect on this quote, okay? So I'm going to drop the quote in the chat for us to consider and for us to think about. And then I'm going to drop the question in the chat. So the reflection question I would love to be able to leave you all with is, what is one space that you've been trying to squeeze yourself into that you really need to stop entering and begin to start building your own version of instead? Okay. So again, what is one space that you've been trying to squeeze yourself into that you really need to stop entering into and start building your own version instead? So go ahead, think about that quote for a little bit. Again, grab your people, tag them, bring them into this conversation, and we will be back after this quick commercial break, because you don't want to miss our guest today. When I tell you, I'm going to tell you when we come back. No, I'm gonna get y'all excited. Look, watch this commercial. Think about that question, and we'll be back. All right, see y'all in a second.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page. As we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force, our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Yeah, let's go. We are ascending. I love that for us. And we're back, y'all. Welcome back to the All About Our Liberation podcast, which airs every first and third Mondays of the month. We, some kind of way, got to the third Monday of February. In my mind, we're still in January. So I'm trying to catch up. It's probably the rest of y'all are trying to catch up as well. All right. But again, make sure y'all are here. Do not forget to like, share, and comment. Let us know that you are here in the chat and where you were coming from. And make sure you tag your people so we can get them in the room. All right. Because you all are at All About Our Liberation, the podcast, which is where we are collectively working towards remembering, reclaiming, and rebuilding who we were before the world got its hands on us. All right. So, y'all ready for this? Are y'all really ready for this guest? Because when I tell you, I'm not even sure I'm ready. Because for those of y'all who know, we have been running a morning writing space for a little over 3 years now. And the guest that I am about to bring to the stage is someone who has been with us for at least 6 months now. I'm losing track of time, right? But she's been with us for a while. And it's so funny because we will get on and we'll all write for 30 minutes. And then when 7:01 hits and the conversation starts, you can tell her wheels are turning. You can tell that there is something juicy going on in her head, and you just want to know and ask questions, right? And so there are some people that you meet that you just understand that they have so much wisdom within them, and you just want to soak it all up. And so I am excited to be able to share this stage with Amanda Wingate, y'all, who is an author who we will talk about a little bit later. We'll talk about the book, right? And the founder of Sovereignique, a forthcoming thought leadership brand exploring sovereignty, leadership, and legacy. After nearly 2 decades in the financial service industry, she now focuses on translating human design, astrology, and energetics into language leaders, visionaries, and creatives. Well, I'm sorry. Yep, translating human design, astrology, and energetics into language leaders, visionaries, and creatives so that they can actually live by this, right? Rather than teaching people how to build a brand or business, Amanda shifts perspectives on how we can see ourselves while doing so, inviting a deeper relationship with authority, identity, and cultural imprint we leave behind. Y'all, I could nerd out all day with this woman. So make sure y'all soak all of this up. And then it's going to be a little behind the scenes that we're going to have too over on my Substack. So make sure y'all tune in here again, get your people in the room and help me in welcoming our guest for this episode, Amanda Wingate. Come on to the stage, my dear.
Hey.
All right. Oh, you about to bless us with some goodness. Like, I am so excited for this conversation. Welcome to All About Our Liberation. Thank you so much for saying yes.
And thank you for inviting me. I'm gracious and grateful to be accepted your invitation to be part of this conversation.
Yes. My goodness. Your mind is something that I feel like I have only begun to scratch the surface and absorbing, right? And so I'm getting ready for this conversation, right? I'm shaking it all off, right? So to kick us off, right? I mentioned that quote earlier to kind of ground us into the conversation, right? The place in which I'll fit will not exist until I make it, right? So right now you are beginning a new chapter in your life, right? And
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk about, hmm, what does it feel like to build a room that you may or may not have seen in your dreams, right? And you may not have the floor plan for, but you're beginning to like lay the bricks for it right now. Because you took a leap, girl.
Yeah. Actually, lighter
Mm.
that I made the choice. Because a lot of people, they build something on the side while working a 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
which I can understand because people have families, obligations, all that. I don't have that for myself personally. I don't have children or anything like that. So for me, it's easier, but it's hard to straddle on two worlds. So I just said, you know what? I told myself last year I was not going to make it 20 years at my job.
Mm.
I just put it out. I didn't know how I was going to show up. I didn't know when or in what iteration. I just knew that was it. And I just focused on what I can control and just let everything in the background just work until it was time. And I just had to trust it and trust myself in my decision.
That's the word. The word is trust. You had to trust yourself. It is so hard for us to trust ourselves when we're making major moves, right? So we'll dive a little. I'm gonna make a note. We're gonna come back to that trust piece a little bit later. But what I would love for you to do, I love this segment of All About Our Liberation because I asked my guests to come on and read a letter to a sister resistor, right? And that is someone who is building their own way. And you, whether you know it or not, you are creating the opportunity for others to follow in your footsteps in terms of taking that leap, right? And so I would love for you to read your letter to a sister resistor, and then we can begin to have some conversations around the letter and dive into some more talk. All right.
Okay.
So whenever you are
All
ready.
right. Gotcha. Dear sister resistor, you were born into a world where you've been taught to endure, to carry, and to code switch to navigate systems where the rules are rigged and were never built with you in mind. You've been told that you were too much, yet not enough, all at the same time, all while trying to shrink yourself just to fit into spaces that were too small for your greatness. Somewhere along the way, survival started looking and feeling more like silence, like a faint yet nagging whisper telling you to wait to be invited to rooms that you were meant to build. I'm here to tell you, my sister resistor, that I see you. And I'm here to tell you, as a daughter of the Most High, it is your birthright to stake your claim and use the power of your words to liberate others as a guiding light in this dark world. But liberation doesn't begin when the world decides to change. It begins when you decide you no longer agree with who the world told you to be. The decision to choose yourself when others prefer your silence is the most deafening sound you will ever make. You are more than worthy. You are more than ready. And you are more than capable of sharing your story, starting your movement, and leaving your legacy. Writing the stories you want to tell is how you leave indelible evidence of why you were here. I will leave you with this question. What decision are you postponing that will set you free? My sister resistor, how you answer that question is the first step in changing the trajectory of your life the life you were meant to live. Don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself.
Told y'all. Let me take a sip of my water real quick. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that is in this letter. And you are beautifully observant. I just want to point that out. Like I feel like you see everything. You had so many lines in here. Survival started to feel more like silence. I don't know how many women in particular, women of color, who have felt that their survival started to feel more like silence and what that's done to our bodies, right? And just the simple act of saying, I see you, can make someone shift the way that they move. Liberation doesn't begin with the work. Wait, what was that line? Liberation doesn't begin when the work decides
When
to
the world
change.
when the world decides to change. When the world
Decides
decides to change.
What was the rest of that line?
Mm-hmm. I'll read this sentence again. Liberation doesn't begin when the world decides to change. It begins when you decide you no longer agree with who the world told you to be.
The quotes. And that piece, you are more than ready. You are more than ready. How does one begin to trust themselves? Because we can say that you're more than ready, but until you actually believe it, like wholeheartedly, making any sort of decision where you have to truly trust yourself is difficult. How do you even begin to do that?
Now, I can only speak from personal experience.
Absolutely.
I had to ask myself, which is the worst pain? To take a chance and maybe it doesn't work out, or to continue being comfortable, knowing that nothing's going to change. I'd rather just roll the dice. If it doesn't work, at least I tried.
It's true.
But I just knew in my heart that the path I'm on now is the path I'm supposed to be on, because it kept coming towards me. It kept chasing me. I kept running. And one day I said, nope, I'll let it catch me. You can only run for so long. You'll get tired of running.
Do you feel comfortable naming what it is that you are creating right now?
Yeah. It just, because it's like you have it incubating, right?
Yeah.
And then when you can actually just express it, it's like an albatross. It gets off of you.
It really does.
That weight
and it's like it has space to breathe. Like you have space for the dream itself, right? Not for the thing that's been weighing you down, but for the dream itself. You literally have a chance to spread your wings and be like, oh, that box that I was in obviously wasn't meant for me, but you literally feel your body being squeezed. And so when you have a chance to, like you said, take a deep breath, you said you felt lighter, right? Because you weren't confined. Oof.
No.
Hey, they say the first step is the hardest though, right? And sometimes the second and the third step is really hard and scary, right? So how are you practicing trust in those moments when the doubt starts to creep in?
It's not always, I'm not even going to front, it's not always easy because it's new. Anything that's new, if you don't have a frame of reference, it's always going to be scary. But I see myself as, a pioneer in a sense, in my own way. I'm taking the first step. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just trusting that it's going to work the way it's going to work. And then how it shows up, anything I can control, I can control my actions. I can control, certain things. I can't control how it shows up, and I can't control when, and I just let it go. I don't even carry that. And a lot of times when you have a vision in your mind of how something should look, when you let go of the how it's supposed to look, it comes out better than you can ever imagine.
That's hard because that requires surrendering.
It is hard.
Letting go of control.
You have to let it go. That's exactly it.
How do you do that? How? Like what? As someone who, it is hard to do that, and I'm
but you've done it, right?
I have done it, but I've had reminders.
Yeah.
Right? I've had to have reminders of you need to let go, and that's the way that I've been able to work through it. But not knowing things, we're not taught to lean into the unknown. We're taught to go with the flow, usually of capitalism, so that money has a chance to flow and other people get to use you and all of those things. But you don't have a chance to be yourself in that model. And so learning how to let go.
Some people may not even feel safe to. Yeah, some may not feel safe in their bodies to do it too. So that's other things with that as well. Inner work, just trusting that you're safe. There's safety within yourself. That's where the safety lies within you. It's not outside yourself.
And we're taught the opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like we're taught the opposite. We're not taught to, like, that goes back to the trusting ourselves and understanding that the safety lives within me. But if I haven't had the tools, so how did you begin to trust yourself? Like, how did you begin to build, not trust, but build that safety within yourself?
I'm not trying to think with this job. Because, if you stay in something for a long time, it becomes like, this is a norm. This is, I'm so used to this.
Yeah.
But when I started looking at, where I was working, the opportunities weren't, they were given to people, but it's almost like stealthily in a way, where they didn't announce it. They was like, oh, you're going to you see in the email signature that someone got promoted. Oh, that's how, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I see what's happening. Oh, okay. That's what's, and it could be a job posting. I was like, okay, I see where this is at. So I said, okay, what can I focus on? And I started to disconnect. That's when I announced to myself last year that I would not make it past 20 years. I said, okay, what can I focus on? Make sure I do my job the best I can do. Within the 40 hours a week, I was not getting them overtime. I was overtime eligible. I did not even want it. I said,
you're like, this isn't for
my
me.
time is work. My time is valuable. No, my time was I can't get my time back. That mattered to me. And that's one reason why I walked away too. That was a big part of it. I wanted to reclaim my timeline. Because I was not going to continue giving that to them. And I wasn't getting anything in return. That was not happening anymore. I was ready to go. The trust in my own body, I said, have faith. Unwavering faith. I just if this is meant for me, yeah. If this was meant for me, everything's gonna work out fine. So when I gave my notice in December, as soon as I made the call to my boss, and I didn't preempt her like what I was doing. I was like, hey, I gotta talk to you. And I told her, I said, that's it. I said, let me give my 2 weeks. And after that, it was like, I don't know. It was like a huge lift.
A weight was
did it. Yeah. And even though I still didn't know how it was gonna, turn out in the end, I just knew. It's hard. I can't really quite explain it all the way. I just felt in my body.
There's like a clarity that happens within us where we're like, okay, this is what needs to happen, right? And so I call them the whispers, right? So there are whispers that happen, like that moment where you declared to yourself before you even made the move this is what I need to do. That was a voice that was telling you, all right, I'm not going to make it. And so being able to acknowledge that. And then I know for myself, when I made the leap, I had to unpack, right? Like, okay, I made this declaration. Now what? Like, what do I have to do? Who do I have to be in order to begin this transition, right? So as you are at the beginning of this stage, thinking about what sort of transitions have you had to make to your identity to move from someone who is used to being in a space for someone else and now being in a space where you're creating it for yourself?
What does it feel like to me? Or
yeah, like what sort of identity shifts, what sort of conversations have you had with yourself to kind of get you from this one place where you were serving someone else and someone else's needs to now serving your own and building your own life and world?
It started with me saying out loud, I am an author. I am creator. You say, I am. You own it. It's written. It's law. You declare it. You don't fit yourself. No, you just take it. You just say it. And you just roll with it. You say, I am this. I am that. And then you start to embody that. It becomes part of you. And you start, changing the way you show up, changing how you speak, how you carry yourself. And people feel that.
Yeah.
Even if they can't name it, they sense something.
And if it's a part of your daily practice, right? Like you journal every day. And so creating space within that journaling to not only write it down so that it's being mirrored back to you, but also creating space for you to say it out loud. Because it's different. When you write it and it stares at you, you say, okay. And then when you say it out loud to yourself, you're like, that's another step. And then when you share it with other people, I feel like there is a different sort of shift that happens within your body because you now are owning it in a way. Like I can say, I am, fill in the blank. But if I don't believe it and I don't share it with other people so that they can reflect back to me my magic and my brilliance, it's different.
Right. That's it.
In a world that demands urgency, right? It's like we have to go, we have to move quickly, right? When I think about transitions, sometimes folks believe that you have to jump from one thing to the other and know what that other is, like this, right? And so there was a mention in like a conversation that we had before when we were talking about like, what do we want to talk about for this episode, right? Being able to move forward without rushing or forcing clarity, right? How do you protect your peace when the world around you is moving so fast and at an unhealthy pace as you were going through a transition?
I opted out.
I love it. You were just like, I said no.
Seriously, because I'm looking at people at my job before. No, not to them or anything like that. But it was so funny. The day after I gave my notice, I was in the office. I'm in the office twice a week before. And they were talking about happy hour. Like, yeah, we're going to go to such and such. I'm like, okay, bye. Have fun. Like, I don't care. So like, I'm having my own happy hours after the 15th.
You're like, I'm releasing myself from this. This is my happy hour.
It's always Friday. I'm like, you looking forward to one day of the week with 7 days. No. I'm like, and it wasn't so much, it was just, you know what it was? It was the paradigm, it was the thoughts, like how they're groupthink. And I'm like, I'm not in that anymore. I don't want any parts. And I just like, I'm just going to focus on what I'm here to do in this job while I'm here.
Yeah.
And if the world wants to do this, I'm going to go this way.
Yeah.
Because anytime the world moves if they all move one way, it's wrong. You take the narrow path. Don't take the broad path. No, we ain't doing that.
We chart our own type of we chart our own way. We create our own space. But
that's right.
Oh, it's like you said, it's not always easy, right? Because like you want sometimes there is that desire to be with other people, and when you are like wholeheartedly, when you know it is time for me to go in a different direction, it takes a lot of courage to leap. It takes a lot of courage to say yes, right? My goodness. Catherine said, such an important conversation between Amanda and Bird. Hey, Catherine. So good to see you. I see Kim is also here talking about just such good questions and conversations, right? Catherine reminds us that we are our own reward. As one of our sister resistors, Regina used to always say. So, yeah. Ooh, Sonabella said, when you leave a job, you certainly will discover yourself. I love this.
Yeah.
What new thing have you discovered about yourself since your transition? Since you've been liberated?
I know a whole lot more than I give myself credit for.
Talk about it. Talk about this journey. Come on. Come on.
You know how, so you know how people say, like, if you're in the coaching space or any space like this, like, you got to have certifications, you got to have this and that, all these degrees. And I'm like, I actually thought that way. And then I said, wait a minute. When I was studying human design, for example, I was in the official school on the business side of it. And after a while, I said, you know what? I need to take a break from learning from other people and figure out how to just channel it myself and understand it.
Oh, y'all see what I mean? Hold on, time out, rewind. Say that again. You had to do what?
Take a break from studying other people's interpretations of it and channel it myself. And I realized I actually understood it way more because I was living it. I was applying it and just, reading it. And I was interpreting what these different things mean. And I'm like, oh, this is so much easier. And I can just tell to other people, share with other people. Yeah. And you know more than you think you do. Sometimes you keep getting certified thinking you be quite
conversation.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then once you start really like taking a break and really looking at stuff from a different perspective, then you can like, wait a minute. Oh, I can use it this way. I can use it like this. And that's when I mentioned in my bio about perspective. The way I look at something, I like to like ask it a question and a different way to look at something. Any like, concept or like that maybe you never considered. And it can open up your world. And I think that's needed because everyone wants to think they're right. You can that's okay to a certain degree, but there's 8+ billion people on the planet. No one's going to think the same way as you, and that's fine. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're what you think is less than or more than. It's just so.
Oh,
but I think these conversations need to be necessary.
Yeah. And I love this comment here, right? Like in terms of you being able to discover yourself. I love this. You even start liking the sound of your own name. Like, I don't know. Look here, that needs to be a poem. How you like are rediscovering, because I can understand what that might feel like when people are constantly saying your name, but not saying it in a way that acknowledges who you are as a person, where you might be reprimanded, where your name is being used in rooms that is not filled with joy and not filled with love and not surrounded with who you really are as a person, because they don't actually see you. When you're now in this space of a transition, you have the opportunity to fall back in love with who you are, to understand how much you actually know, right? Have you ever made a list of these are all the things that I actually know, and have ever had a chance to like take a look at it?
I think I have. I've just in some way, and really thought about, what I've done before, and I'm like, oh, I've done quite a bit. Okay.
And how it's applicable, right? To this life.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I transitioned a little over a year ago, I had 10 years in one space and 5 years in another for 15 years of like nonprofit experience in different realms. And when I started to actually think about all of the transferable skills and all the things that I learned and how I can take it into my next chapter, my word. Like I had a moment yesterday where shout out to the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, right? I was there in that space and I curated an entire activation. And within that activation, I remembered how much I love to put on programming. And so I fell back in love with the act of in-person experiences in a way that I had forgotten about for a while because it was tied to somebody else's dream. And so I love this idea of being able to, I don't want to say reinvent. I'm going to say like activate parts of you that you forgot existed, that lay dormant because you were in these other spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is something that you are looking forward to in this next chapter?
Where do I start?
Oh, come on. We got some time. Let's go. Let's dream.
Start.
This is the part of it, right? Like we get to dream what our present and our future looks like in a way that we haven't been able to do before. So what does this look like for you? Let's dream.
The one thing that I made sure, this is why I'm not in an immediate rush to launch something right away. I didn't want to create a golden cage for myself.
Oh,
by rushing.
What is the golden cage, Amanda?
So people want to start a business because they see, oh, I can control my time, I can make all this money or like that, and I can live the life I want. But sometimes you can get so caught up in the day-to-day of the business that it's almost like you're working a 9-to-5 again. And you can't escape that because you're trying to make sure to maintain that type of energy and a lifestyle. Yeah. Whereas from the beginning, you decide what matters to me, how much time do I want to allocate to this, how do I build a business around the life I want to have, not the other way around.
That's the key. That is the key.
We don't get the opportunity to do that because we're indoctrinated in this system. You got to go to school, got to do this, get a job. And it's like, then you fit your life around that for 40, 50 years. And then you later on when you retire, you're too tired. You can't enjoy that. I said, I don't
40,
want
50
that.
years is a lot to build a habit. To build a habit to somebody else's. That's a long time.
And here's the kick. Here's the irony of that. If you're doing something for that long and you actually love it, you wouldn't retire.
Yeah. Speaking of my mother, my mother is 75, y'all, and she has been a teacher since 1976. She retired in 2015. So for the past 10 years, going on 11, she still subs actively. And I started to question, yes, girl, she is 75, still subbing. And with the little ones too, like the little ones, pre-K and kindergarten. And I'm like, say what now? Who? Like, mama, why are you still working? Right? I started to ask that question. And I remember one time I came home And my mom had the days of the month playing on YouTube loud because her hearing is starting to go, right? But she got it on loud. I'm like, what are you doing? But it was in Spanish. And I was like, Mom, you're learning a new skill. Like, what's happening? She was like, oh, I'm teaching in the bilingual class tomorrow. And I'm teaching them the months of the year. My mother is not fluent in Spanish. So she created space. She loves teaching and curating spaces so much that she was learning a new language at 65 so that she can go and teach 4 and 5-year-olds the months of the year and the days of the week in Spanish. And she created these postcards, and she loves crafty things, right? And so I had to ask myself the question, why is she still doing this? She loves it. She don't have to do lesson plans anymore, right? But she doesn't like lesson plans, so that wasn't a part of the deal, right? But because she doesn't have to do that anymore, she loves teaching. She loves being in the schools. When she goes to the school, they love her. Like, I got to see them interact with her in a really beautiful way. So that statement of, if you really loved her, you wouldn't retire. If you love what you do, technically she's retired. However, she subs every single day like she's not. Right? And she loves what she does and wants to learn a new skill. And so there's that freedom that exists when that weight is lifted off of your shoulders, that opens up doors. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So you're an author.
Yes, I am.
You want to talk a little bit more about the book and your part in the book and what that experience was like? And
okay, so it's right here.
Oh, watch out now!
Spark, igniting change in a world of possibilities. And my name is on the cover right down here.
Hey,
make sure of that. But that came about in November 2024. I got an email from the publisher, the woman who runs it, and she was having a special for Black Friday or whatever like that, to be in the book, be part of a book, whatever you want to choose. And it was this particular one. And when I saw the opportunity, I said, well, I gotta jump on this now. I had no clue I was gonna write. I knew nothing. I was like, no, we're doing this. We're pulling the trigger. We're pulling the trigger. And here's a reason.
There's another leap analogy here. There's a trend that's occurring. I just want to point that out.
And I want to bring something up about my job. They had an outside activities policy. I don't know if anyone's listening, if they have a policy, like the internal policy, where you have to get permission to get a part-time job or write a book. Yeah. To write a book? YouTube channel.
Also, why you in my pocket? If I gotta get a second job, that means you should pay me more. But anyway, gonna control me like that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I say, okay. So I just said, I'm not gonna ask permission. I'm gonna just, God made me, so ask permission. So I'm gonna go do it. That's the permission slip. God made me. He made me in this life. That's it. We're doing this. I don't know how it's going to come about, but once I started, it took me. I waited about 4 months after, because we had until October was when the book was supposed to have been published.
Okay,
but it got postponed 3 months, which was fine. But I finished the chapter in April. Okay, so I had like a long time to just. Yeah, I was good. It's done, so it's off. Didn't have to worry about that. But my piece was, it was just a time in your life where it was like something, if you ignited within yourself, like a decision that you made. That was like a turning point. And that's what I wrote about. And it's kind of similar to, it was almost like a precursor to December 15th, my last day at my job, in a sense.
I'm just saying. There's a theme here. You took a leap, did not ask for permission to do the thing that you wanted to do, right? Speaking of spark.
That's right.
Like literally that it's a testament to how the little things contribute to your future. and how sometimes your future self or your present self has a chance to thank your past self for making that one little decision, right? And so giving you the opportunity to be a part of an anthology in that way and to name the way in which you took your leap or thought about taking your leap, and then you actually took the leap, and now you're curating the life that you want to live for yourself. And like you said yes, you took the leap, you're here. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. I know it will because again, I have witnessed your brilliance, right? But there, there's still that conversation, that back and forth that happens within your mind, right? But you did it. And like you said, you never know until you try. And so here you are doing the thing and creating the life that you know you have always deserved to live. And like I said, you are paving the way for others to begin to at least ask themselves the question, am I happy? Do I want to be here? What life do I actually want to be able to live? What was the question at the end of your letter that you read us? Let's bring that back.
What decision are you postponing that will set you free?
Oh my goodness. Y'all, every episode we always have a journaling prompt. And I wholeheartedly believe that this is the journaling prompt that is going to begin to open the door for you and begin to set you free. So I really want to invite you to enter into that journaling. Can you say one more time what that prompt is?
What decision are you postponing that will set you free?
I'm typing that in the chat, y'all. You have your assignment, right? What decision are you postponing that will set you free? My goodness. I know you had that seed of a thought that turned into reality. And so I want to congratulate you. I know you had your liberation dance on December 15th. When you logged in, we had a chance to celebrate you in a way that not a lot of people have the opportunity to celebrate. Like you said, you felt lighter, you were lifted. And hopefully, the more you get to talk about this experience and the more that you get to discover more things about who you are and remembering who you are, like deep down inside, being able to pull that out. Whew, I can't wait to see. I cannot wait to see what is to come. So if you all are needing a little bit of a spark, make sure you all check out Amanda's chapter in the newly released anthology Spark. You will see that scroll across the bottom. I will also make sure to drop that in the show notes for you all. And Amanda has some really amazing things that I know that are brewing inside your mind that might not be solidified just yet. But when she starts talking about astrology, y'all, that is a whole other can of worms that we can open up, not only for ourselves, but for the folks that are around us. And so there is so much more to come. So if you definitely know that you want to stay in contact with Amanda, to stay in the loop of what she has going on, make sure that you follow her on LinkedIn. It's scrolling across the bottom here as well, so that you all have a chance to dive deeper into her brilliance. I promise you will not be disappointed. So make sure you all check that out. Are there any last words before I ask our closing question for today? Any words of wisdom that you have for anyone who might be considering transition and taking that leap for themselves?
Only piece of advice I will offer is, even though it may be scary to take a chance on yourself, you are more than worth it. And I know a lot of times it's tied to money. It's the financial side that they're scared to, maybe they can't, focus on building something. If staying in your job is what's needed, that's you know what's best for you. But at the end of the day, don't be afraid to make a bet on yourself. You ain't get one shot at this thing your whole life.
Oh, yes, 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 and yes. All right, y'all. Closing question. You know, this podcast is called All About Our Liberation, right? Why is this
Yes.
conversation about our liberation necessary?
There are too many voices that are still continuing to try to keep us quiet.
Mm.
And we are tired. And the world's shifting so much right now. This is growing pains. This labor pains we're in the middle of.
Yes.
All this stuff happening around the world. It's not just in the United States. This is labor pains. But what I see on the other side of it is it's either going to be, you're going to be on the side where you are going to raise the vibration of the world, or you're going to be down here. I have a feeling that the women in this community are going to be on this side to continue to elevate this planet's vibration and to make a better world for everyone. And I think that's the liberation. It comes from making the choice, to choosing you. You have to choose yourself.
That's it right there. It's not easy, but it is definitely necessary, right?
Yeah.
Definitely necessary. My goodness. Amanda, thank you so much for being a guest on All About Our Liberation and for being a light for a lot of us that want to take the leap, haven't taken the leap yet, are thinking about it. There are a lot of things that we need to consider, especially that question, y'all. So do not forget to dive into that journaling prompt. What decision are you postponing that will set you free? Allow that to be the jumping off point for you to begin to create the world that you deserve. All right. If this conversation spoke to you, make sure y'all join me on the first Monday of next month, right? We meet on the first and third Mondays of every month because we want to be able to continue the conversation around our healing. We want to continue the conversation around our remembering. And we want to make sure that we're continuing our conversation around our liberation. This is so important for us, like you said, to be able to raise our vibrations up, right? We want to be on this side of the conversation, right? So again, make sure y'all listen, watch the replay, subscribe, leave a comment, like, share with the person that you know really needs this message, and make sure y'all check out Spark. You want to show the folks one more time? Make sure y'all get a copy of Spark that is available on Amazon. So make sure y'all check this out, and make sure y'all read Amanda's excerpt that is in there, along with all of the other amazing authors that are in there. And last but not least, I want to make sure that you all know that I see you. When I heard that from Amanda's letter, it was a reminder that we need to make sure that we are carving out space to acknowledge the fact that we see each other. It is so important to not only just say hi and bye and leave, but that we are creating space to have conversations with one another. All right. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining us. Amanda, thank y'all so much for being here. We gonna be on the behind the scenes, so make sure y'all catch us behind the scenes in Substack. We're gonna be unpacking some things over there, and with all the love and liberation in my heart, I want to let you know again that I see you. You are not alone. I thank you all for coming to fly with us, and hopefully you have the opportunity to spread your wings from this conversation. Until next time, I will see y'all in a couple weeks. Bye, y'all.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.